200 feet up, blindfolded, your bare feet sliding on a rope still slick with the last boy's blood. One twitch and you're a wet smear on the rocks. And this is the school that was supposed to keep you alive. The monsters were never going to kill you. Your own school is. There are 8 Witcher schools, and I'm ranking every single one by one question. Which keeps you breathing, and which leaves you a corpse on the rocks? Some freeze you on a mountain, some make you slit the throat of the thing you love, some get slaughtered in their sleep, 7 of them will bury you, 1 won't. We start with the one that kills you fastest. Number 7, School of the Cat. That rope from the first frame? This is whose it was. When the old order of Witchers tore itself apart, one breakaway group walked off with a wagon of stolen mutagens and a promise. They'd build a better Witcher than anyone before them. They holed up in Stygia Castle and got to work. What they built instead was the single most dangerous place on this entire list to be a child. You'd be fast here, faster than anything human. The cats trained in Adon Enya, an elven sword form built on speed, flow, and precision, wore the lightest armor of any school and carried steel over silver because the cats hunted people far more often than monsters. On paper, that's terrifying. In practice, it's exactly why you die. Start with the rope, blindfolded, balanced on a wire, and every year they raise it higher. By your final walk, it's strung high enough that one misstep doesn't fail you. It ends you. And that's if you reach it. Only 3 in 10 children survive the trials to even climb that high. Then come the mutations. Every other school's formula dulls a Witcher's emotions. The cat formula does the opposite. It cranks them up. The intended result was sharper reflexes, perception filed to a razor. The actual result was a school full of beautiful, lightning-fast killers slowly losing their minds. And it got worse. When the mages decided some students were failed batches, they didn't free them. They strapped them down and cut them open while they were still alive and screaming. One of them, Gesras of Leda, woke up in a pile of his own dead, crawled out, freed the others, and opened every mage's throat in their sleep. Then a royal army stormed the undefended keep and finished the rest. The survivors became the Din Marv, a wandering caravan with no home and no banner. There's a Witcher from this school in the games described simply as might be alive, might be dead. A cat named after Schrödinger. Whoever wrote that knew exactly what this school is. So, your survival verdict. You die on the rope, or the mutations hollow out your skull, or you live just long enough to earn a bounty, hunted by humans, by other schools, and finally by your own brothers. And be honest, the cat school is the fandom's favorite for the aesthetic. Cool medallion, cool black leather, but you'd be dead in a week. They're glass cannons with a god complex. The cats kill you with the training. The next school makes you kill the thing you love. Number 6. School of the Viper. The cats make you kill the thing you love. The vipers make you raise it first. The day you arrive, they hand you an animal, a dog, a bird, whatever. It's yours. You feed it, you train it, you sleep beside it through years of isolation so complete that this one creature becomes the only thing in the world that loves you back. And then, on the day you're meant to become a viper, they give you your final test. Kill it. No reason, no speech. Just open its throat with your own hands. Because once you've murdered the only thing you ever loved, a stranger means nothing. A king means nothing. And the worst part? It works. That's the entire point. The Vipers built their keep, Gorthur Gvaed, deep in the Tir-Tocher Mountains on the edge of Nilfgaard, and trained you to be the perfect blade in the dark. Twin short swords like fangs, slick with poison, a style built for getting close enough to end a man before he ever knows you're there. They'd take any contract, monster, human, elf, as long as the coin was real. But here's the part almost nobody knows. The whole school was a lie. Its founder, Ivar Evil Eye, was a bear witcher whose mutation went wrong. Or maybe exactly right. One eye was changed, and through it he saw something coming. The wild hunt, riding from world to world, leaving each one dead behind it. So he built a school of assassins, not to hunt monsters, not to murder kings. He built them to bleed out across the continent, gather every scrap of intelligence on the hunt, and one day stop it. A war against an interdimensional army that spanned centuries, and not one student he trained was ever told what they were really for. So, would you survive as a viper? The training doesn't kill you. It hollows you out. And then the world finishes the job. Nilfgaard swallowed the vipers whole, dangled a rebuilt school in front of them, and sent its best, Letho, Seret, Aucas, to cut down the kings of the north. Foltest, Demavend, they did it. And the second they stopped being useful, the Empire turned and hunted them like dogs. You'd be the deadliest thing in any room you walked into, right up until the Empire decided the room was better off without you. By the time of the games, you could count the living vipers on one hand, maybe 2 or 3 left on the entire continent. The vipers shatter your mind. The bears? They won't even touch it. They've got something colder waiting for you. Number 5. School of the Bear. The viper hands you to an empire. The bear hands you to a mountain. And honestly, that might be the kinder death. The bears had a creed you could carve on a blade. No honor, no code, just contracts and coin. Their founder, Arnagad, nearly beat a fellow witcher to death over a job, then stormed off into the Amel Mountains to build a school with the warmth surgically removed. Home was Herne Caduch, a fortress buried in snow, the kind of cold that kills a normal man in hours, and the training matched it. To become a bear, you climbed Mount Gorgon and carried a runestone back down from the summit. Plenty of boys never came back down at all. The mountain didn't care how good you were, but survive all that, and you'd be the toughest witcher on this entire list. Heaviest armor, deepest endurance, built to tank blows that would cut another witcher in half. Against a monster in a straight fight, there's no school you'd rather be. So why are they this low? Because the bears made you a loner by design. No brotherhood, no backup, no one coming when it goes wrong. They were so territorial that two bears meeting on the road often ended with one of them dead. You'd survive the monster. You wouldn't survive the silence. And their end says everything. After a botched contract against a nest of vampires, the surrounding villages turned on them. And with no loyalty binding them together, the bears didn't make a stand. They just left. Scattered to the wind, the keep abandoned to the ice. Not slaughtered. Just gone. By now, the secret of making a witcher was already slipping away with them. At least the bears chose to leave. The next school built the smartest survival plan of anyone, and you've been told a lie about how it ended. Number 4. School of the Manticore. Search witcher schools, and someone, somewhere, will tell you the Manticores were the one school that never fell. The survivors, the smart ones, the school the world forgot to murder. It's a great story. It's also wrong, and the truth is worse. But first, give them their due, because on paper, the Manticores built the smartest survival plan of any school on this list. Their founder, Iwan, was a bear-trained witcher who walked away from Ivar's assassins and went the opposite direction of every other school, east into the Korath Desert on the edge of Zerrikania. Out there, he saved a royal caravan and earned the patronage of a court mage named Nasira Faizan. With her backing, he built not one keep, but two, Beheltnar and Bialsuf al-Saraya, one on each side of the sands, and everything about them was tuned to keep you breathing. No psychological torture, the deepest alchemy on the continent, defensive fighting built to outlast a fight instead of gambling on it. And best of all, they were nobody. So far east, so far off the map, that not one mob, not one jealous mage, not one pogrom ever found them. While every other school was being hunted or betrayed, the Manticores just survived, quietly, for generations. And then came the Day of Fire. In the year 1146, nearly the entire school rode out to escort a single royal wedding caravan across the desert. In the mountains, a fire elemental fell on them. When it was over, almost every Manticore was dead, and with them, half the Zerrikanian royal family and a third of the court they'd sworn to protect. Zerrikania pulled its gold. The school never recovered. A handful limped on. The rest are bones in the sand. So here's your verdict. The Manticores were the best survival bet on this entire list. Right up until the one day they all stood in the same place, and the desert took every last one of them at once. Isolation almost saved them. So what about the one school that's still out there? The one nobody even bothers to rank. Number 3. School of the Crane. Every school you've seen so far is dead, scattered, or buried in the ground. This one? Still out there, still sailing, right now, and almost nobody even knows it exists. The Crane School comes from an anthology, not the main books or games, semi-canon, and that's exactly why it might outlive every school above it. The Cranes are a sea school, founded long after the others. Once the Second Conjunction dragged new horrors out of the deep, they took the contracts no land witcher could handle. Sea serpents, drowners by the hundred, things that come up under a ship in the dark, and the winged things that dive out of the storm above it. So they trained for it. The Crane is the only school that put a gun in your hands. Early firearms alongside the silver sword. And before you went over the side to fight something underwater, you tied a rope to the mast, because that rope is the only thing bringing you back up. Storms, drowning, krakens. That's your daily commute. So, what are your odds? Yes, the sea can kill you 100 ways. But no king sends a mob after a school he's never heard of. No jealous mage bothers. Near zero politics, no enemies worth the name. And 100 years after the famous schools burned, the Cranes are still on the water. The cranes survived by being no one. Now meet the school that survived by being everyone's favorite until that's exactly what got it buried. Number 2, School of the Griffin. This is the school you'd actually want to be sent to, which, in the Witcher world, is exactly what gets you killed. The Griffins were the one school not born from betrayal. Their founder, Erland of Larvik, one of the very first Witchers ever created, didn't murder anyone or stage a coup. He just gathered 13 people he trusted and left the order in peace, settling at Kaer Morhen, an old fortress in Kovir they had to clear of the ghosts of failed experiments before they could even move in. And what they built there was, by Witcher standards, almost humane. The training was the least sadistic on this list. Your final trial was a choice: steal an egg from a wild griffin's nest, or recite the Liber Tenebrarum, an entire forbidden book of shadows, word for word. Nobody ever chose the book. Apparently, a furious griffin was the safer option, and when a student died, the griffins buried him properly. A small mercy no other school bothered with. They were also the most gifted. Griffin armor was built to amplify your signs, making them the closest thing the continent had to Witcher mages. They were one of the only schools that would even take a contract on a dragon, and the only one whose grandmaster got summoned to royal courts to advise kings. So why does the best school on this list land at number 2? Because it was too good. A circle of mages, furious that the Griffins wouldn't open their library and share their secrets, waited until anti-Witcher hatred was already boiling, then brought an entire mountainside down on Kaer Morhen. The fortress was buried alive. Almost everyone inside died. A single old master, Keldar, crawled out of the ruins and still guards them alone to this day. That's the cruelty of it. The bears were too cold to be worth killing. The cranes were too obscure to find. The Griffins were respected, visible, admired, and that made them a target the moment the world turned. Being good got them an avalanche. One of the few survivors rode to the one keep every road in this video has been leading to. Number 1. School of the Wolf. The keep every road in this video has led to is Kaer Morhen, Kaer Morhen, the keep of the Elder Sea. The Wolves were the last school to form, built from the final scraps of the Broken Order. And after everything you've just seen, here's the part that should surprise you. They were also the best, not the flashiest. Kaer Morhen's training was its own kind of cruelty. A mountain trail so lethal the students named it the Killer, spinning windmills and swinging pendulums built to punish a fraction of a second's hesitation with a broken bone. And beneath it all, the same trial of the grasses, the one mutation so brutal that the boys who walked into Kaer Morhen rarely walked back out. But survive Kaer Morhen, and here's what you became. Not the tank the bears made, not the blade the cats made, not the mage the griffins made, something more dangerous than any of them. Balanced. A wolf could take a hit, throw a sign, drink a potion, and adapt to a monster he'd never seen before, all in the same fight. And the most adaptable Witcher is the one most likely to come home. But the real reason they top this list isn't the sword. It's the fire they sat around afterward. Because the wolves did the one thing no other school managed, they actually liked each other. Vesemir, Geralt, Eskel, Lambert, Cohen, they wintered together at Kaer Morhen, repairing armor, training, arguing by the hearth, being something close to a family. After a whole list of loners, assassins, and broken men dying alone, that's the single biggest survival advantage there is. Someone who notices when you don't come back. So here's the truth this whole video has been building to. You came here looking for the strongest school. The strongest schools are graveyards. The school that makes the strongest Witcher you'd actually live to be. That's this one. And no, before you type it, Geralt doesn't prove that. Geralt survived because someone pumped him full of extra experimental mutations the school never even planned for. Take those away, and he's just another boy who didn't come down off the table. He's the exception. The wolves are the rule. But even the best school couldn't outrun the world. Sometime in the 12th century, a mob, whipped into a frenzy by a hate pamphlet called the Monstrum and led by mages, stormed Kaer Morhen. They butchered the Witchers in their beds, burned the laboratory, and broke the school for good. Most never got up. Only a handful lived, those out on the path, and one old instructor named Vesemir. And that was the beginning of the end. The lab was ash, and one by one the mages who knew the trials died or vanished until the knowledge was simply gone. Lambert was the last boy ever successfully put through it. There would never be another. And yet, Vesemir, Eskel, Lambert, Geralt, the school built to keep you alive is the only one whose Witchers are still walking the path today. They lost everything, and they're still here. The strongest Witcher you could survive becoming is a wolf. But there's one more medallion I haven't shown you,